Hello crafters, it's Dawn here from Dawn's Inspirations. I wanted to share with you a quick mini album. This is was originally designed and made by Stephanie Miller, and she did a tutorial on YouTube and did a Ustream class to make this little mini album out of 2 paper bags. She called it her Mother's Day paper bag pocket wallet mini album, and I'll put a link at the bottom of the video so you can go along and see her tutorial on it. And this is my take on it. She did it using the Prima Papers engraver collection, but today I've put one together using the Graphic 45 Ladies Diary collection. And I'd used the paper before and I had some scraps left, and I thought rather than using brand new papers I'd use scraps that I had left out of the paper pad. So I've managed to put the mini album together out of all the offcuts and scraps that I had left. So I'm really pleased with how it's come out. So I'll just walk you through the little mini album. As I say, it's made from 2 paper bags and they slot inside each other. So it's a nice good size. This is made with the tiny little bags. I've made these with this size gift bag. These were 3.5 inches by 6 3/4 inches by 2 inches. So they're the bags that I've used to make this one. And the bottom of the bag here just slips open, and I've got a nice decorative paper punch along here, and then I've done some little faux pearls with some perfect pearls, and then I put some glittering on with some glitter glue just to accentuate that. I haven't stuck loads of flowers and things on top of this because I think it's a nice wallet that I can keep in my purse. So if I put lots of decorative flowers on the outside, they would keep catching obviously in everything in my purse or handbag. But that's why I've kept it nice and flat, because it's the ideal type of thing you can keep in your bag as a little brag book. Again, I put some of the little perfect pearls just along the paper collection here, just to give a bit of detail in there, but there again keeping it quite flat. As I say, we open this up. This opens up like this. We'll show you this side first. So you've got a little flap here. I've put a little cut apart from the Graphic 45 paper on the front there, and then you've got the flap that opens up, and you've got a page here for photos, another one there, another one there, another one there, another one there, and there. So loads of places to add some photographs or some little journaling tags in your little albums. That's the first part. This is obviously the pocket to the paper bag, and then because it comes in 2, as you'll see when we make one, I've done a little booklet here. This was just using the cutter parts, and then I've put a score line down, folded it in half. So even though you've got decoration on the outside, there's space in there for 2 nice photographs, so I think it's perfect. And then again, if we pull this one out, got a bigger booklet here. I put no pictures on this, so you can put photographs on either side and also on the middle as well. So, and they'll take a nice good size photographs, whether you want to put them horizontally or vertically. I've then just put a bit of twine around here, just so when we pop it into the pocket there, it's just an easy way to pull it out. So that's the only reason that I put the twine on there. So actually, let me just pop this around the other way, because I've got a long piece of twine there, and it just helps to decorate the outside of the book at the same time. So let's pop that album back in there. So on this side, Stephanie did a little pocket here, which I've done, and then inside here again I've made another little booklet just with some of the paper that I had out the paper collection. So I've just made it a little 4-page book, but again you can add photographs or journaling. I'd probably add all photographs on here because the paper's nice and patterned. I kept the back plain, but put one of the cut parts again on the front there, and that just slips inside that pocket just there. So that's the inside of the wallet. And then when we turn it over, on the back there's a flip up piece that I've kept closed with a little magnet. Okay, I put some decoration on the top here. Again, you could add photographs there if you wish. And then I've made a pocket here, and then again, some more cards that you could add photographs and then some journaling on. And then this one I folded in half, so again you could put photographs, but you've got space on the back to add some journaling on there. And I thought the words on there were quite nice. It's quite a nice little keepsake. So they just pop in the pocket there with the magnet closure, so that just keeps that down. So you've got a magnet closure on the back and then the flap tuck under at the front. So I kept it quite plain on the front, as I said, because I think it's ideal to put in your purse to carry around as a little brag book wallet. So that's why I like it like this. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make one. One of my YouTube followers, Marie, was really keen to make one of these, and she tried to follow Stephanie Miller's tutorial, but she found it hard to follow because she went quite quickly, and a lot of older crafters do find it sometimes quite hard to follow people. So she got in touch with me. She was the lady that sent me all my lovely parcel with all my bags and packages, etc. So and asked would I do a tutorial on it, because she loved what Stephanie had made so much. So what I'm going to do is just show you quickly how to put it together. So all kudos to Stephanie Miller here, who made and designed this mini wallet, and I will put the link to this at the bottom of the video here, but I'll just show you quickly how to put the album together. Now obviously everybody's going to have paper bags of different sizes, and I'm very aware of that. What I will do is I'll also put a link to my website. I've got two sizes of bags here, and I'll put a link on my website, and on there I'll do the paper cut measurements for both sizes of bags. So if you do happen to get the same bags that I've got, all your paper cutting sizes will already be there for you, just to make it a little bit easier. But obviously I understand the ladies in the UK can't get these paper bags, so they'll be utilising what they can get hold of. So you can still come and join in and make this lovely little wallet brag book that Stephanie Miller has designed. So don't stop thinking you can't make one. So you know, as I showed you in the previous video, you can get bags from shops or your chemists and stuff like that. So you know, go around and ask if you could just buy half a dozen paper bags. So just a way of, they can only say no, can't they? So it's only a way of you being able to join in and craft along with me. So today I'm going to use the bigger bags, just because I think for filming purposes it will be easier for you to see. So I've popped the little ones to one side, and for this you're just going to need two of the paper bags. Now as I said with the original, this one, I've made this with all offcuts I had left from the paper pad of the Lady's Diary Graphic 45. So by making these albums is an ideal way if you want to use paper collections that you've got bits and pieces left of that you don't quite know what to do with, that might just go in your bit box. It's a great way of utilising those up. But what I'm going to do today is I'm using a pad here. I kept it all quite neutral and monochromed, and I've just gone for a paper collection that's all the same. It's just a dark black with creams to go with the black bags, which I thought was quite good. I'm trying to think what the paper pad was called. I'll put a link at the bottom. There again, I know this paper pad you can get in the UK, but you can't get in the US. But I'm just showing this for filming purposes, so you don't have to use, you know, this particular paper collection. The paper collection I'm using has got a mixture of one-sided pattern papers and double-sided pattern papers, so that's another thing to bear in mind. But as you see as we go through and make it, you can work out when you need to use double-sided, when you want to use single-sided. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this started. Put my board round the right way might help. Right, so first of all I'm going to get my paper trimmer, because what I'm going to do is on one of the bags, I know you've got this sort of cut edge on the top here, but I'm not that keen on that, so I'm going to just cut that off to make it smooth. So I'm just literally taking a slither off the top of the bag. You only need to do this on one of the bags, you don't need to do it on both. So just taking that slither off. Okay, so you can just disregard that. That's the first bag, so that's going to be the one that's going to open with our flap. So we're going to take the second bag. Now I can give you measurements for this bag, but obviously, as I'm saying, everybody's bags are going to be slightly different. So we'll see how we go, and we'll go along with this bag with these measurements. But as I say, I will put on my website the measurements for both sizes. So I'm putting the heavy bottom base bit in the far corner of my scoreboard, and then I'm going to score at 7 1/4 inches. So just run a score line down, and then we can bring the bone folder in and score that. Give that a good fold. Another thing I'm going to do while I've got this in my hand is also burnish all these lines, because we want this album to be nice and flat and crisp. You know, as I say, it's the perfect album that Stephanie's designed here to go into a wallet or keep in your purse, and that's why I'm trying to keep it nice and flat. So I'm just flattening down all those corners and edges. So that's my score line. I'll just flatten out the edges on this one as well. There we go, so I'm happy with that. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stick this bag into here. But before we do that, I would like to cut a decorative edge along there, and that is going to be, let me just show you on the original, that is going to be this little bit along here. Okay, so I'm going to get my edge punch. You can use any shape you wish, it's entirely up to you, but as Stephanie showed you on her video, it's easier to do before you actually stick everything together. So I'm just opening my bag out, but actually I'm only going to trim this top section, but obviously I'm trying to fit this into here, which is going to prove harder than I thought. So I'll just open this bag right out. I might have to take it off here and do it this way. Slide that in. As I say, it's only this top bit here that you're going to be doing. Okay, so that's that first bit, and then I've got to try and match that up now, so I'm going to just turn it over, because these punches shouldn't really be used like that, but this is the shape that I've chosen, unfortunately. That's that out. Sorry you can't see very well at the moment, but I'm trying to do it upside down. Two on there. Okay, so I've got a decorative bit just along there, so just pop this to one side now. But you can, as I say, you can use any punch you wish, your choice entirely. So let's now put this all back as it should. Okay, so what we've got now is we've just got a decorative punch along there, and then we're going to glue this on this back flap just here. So what I'm going to do, rather than glue, I'm going to use double-sided tape. But if I just show you first, I'm going to slide it in on the second sort of corrugated bit, if you like. But when I slide it in, I'm going to leave, it's about 1/2 inch. Let me just check my ruler. Yeah, about 1/2 inch roughly. A little gap before that fold line. So that's the score line that we did, and I'm just going to take it in a little bit. This will mean when this goes down, it's going to flap underneath quite happily, okay, but not sort of too far in and not too far out. So even when you flap it open, if I open that bit, you can also see you have a gap between, that's the score line there of the bag, and that's the end of the flap. So it goes under there quite nicely and will keep shut. Okay, so we now need to stick this. I'm going to just turn it over, and we need to put some tape down there. I'm not going to use Cal-Al glue for this. This is my Cal-Al glue that I use a lot, and a lot of you still ask me all about this. This does help strengthen your projects up, but I'm not actually going to put it on this bit because I'm concerned with these bags that it might just, the glue just might seep through and sort of take too much. It might take too much of the glue on. So this time I'm going to use double-sided tape. So I've got some finger lift double-sided tape here. I'm bringing it, I'm going to put on there. So I know in America you've probably got score tape, so anything like that at all will be absolutely fine. Okay, so I'll just burnish that down. I'm going to take the first one off, so I feel that I can probably get that in okay. Sticking to me and not to the paper at the moment. Sort of playing up. Stay on the paper. I'd get the craft knife out. It's very hot here in the UK at the moment, which is really nice for the beginning of the summer holidays. But with that and my studio lights, it's not wanting to play. Okay, so that's our tape. So as I say, we're only going to go in as far as there. So I'm going to open this right out. I'm going to poke it in. I have to do a bit of jiggery pokery here. Just a little bit more. And then I'm going to just lift off this second piece of tape that I've got. Might be best to go in half. I don't know whether you can quite see what I'm doing on the camera. Pull that piece off, and then this other piece off. And stick that down, so put that out of the way. So that's now stuck down. So we've got a nice smooth line there. Don't worry about the join, because when we come to the back we're going to be covering that anyway. So that's our first pocket, and that's the top pocket there. Now obviously watching Stephanie Miller's tutorial, I watched it several times to try and get across the easiest way to do this with you and for measurements, etc. So what I've done is I'm going to go in sequence, and on the website when you see the measurements you'll see those in sequence too. So if you follow my sequence we should be okay. I've pre-cut all my papers ready ahead of time, and I've also the other thing I've done, I've cut my papers ahead of time, and I've also inked all my edges with a, I'll find it here, with a Pro Marker black pen. So you can use any alcohol ink black pen. I use the chisel end, and I just go around my edges to get away from that white just cut look. So that's all you do, is just run them along the edge to get away from that white cut look. Now you can use distress ink, not a problem at all, and I did use ink on this album that I did here, but because this paper collection the way it is, I don't want to use ink, and that is why I've used the pen wave. So obviously it's entirely your choice. So I'm going to get that onto there. So as I say, I've cut all my papers ahead of time to make life easier. So So I'm going to go ahead and start sticking together. So I'm just using my Calal glue purely because it will help strengthen the project as well, and it's my glue of choice. I love this glue, it's perfect for everything, and I do get a lot of questions about the glue that I use. Now I've cut the papers so we've got a little bit of a border showing the black pages, and even with the white bags, if you've got them, or the craft bags, you can then do the same. I've got a little bit of sticking out there. Just going to rub that off. That's the other thing this glue does. If you get too much, we don't want it, just rub straight away. So it's perfect. So I love it. I'll just rub that off for now because I'm going to put an extra piece when we come to that. But as I say, I'm going to go through things in stages. So that's the front bit. Next thing we need to do is add a panel on this side. Now obviously on the original I decorated up, and I will decorate up after this, and I'm just wondering with the paper collection whether to go that way round or the lighter way. I might go lighter way so you can see that it comes out. So pop some glue on there. I've got some lovely butterfly embellishments and things I can add on to this afterwards for decoration, so it will be perfect for that. So stick that one down. If you get all your you are lucky enough to get the bags like I've got, and you cut all your papers ahead of time like I've shown you on my website, it's very quick to actually put together. Okay, right, I'm just keeping track of what I'm doing. So the next piece of paper we've got is longer. I'm just going to move this out of the way because I'm going to do a bit of scoring. So this is going to be scored, and this piece of paper is measuring the 10 by 4.5, and for this I need to score it at 1 1/4 and 6 3/4, and this is obviously to fit in with the bag that I'm doing, and I'll show you why. Fold those over, and I'm going to get my bone folder and just burnish that down, because that is going to come just under here. So you see where that score line is, then it opens up as that page, but you can still see the decorative cut there, and this will then be glued down, but it just means that we've got a nice natural fold there. Okay, I think what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to just use my decorative punch on the outside while we can. As you go along and make these little mini albums, you'll find your own way of adding your little embellishments and things afterwards, and I think that's the beauty of them, is adding your own stamp and style to them, because that's what it's all about really with us ladies that give you ideas on YouTube, is we're giving you the basics, and then it's nice that you can run away and be creative and add your own twist on it. So let's bring that in there. I didn't quite brought that up very well, so let me just trim those bits I didn't do very well on there. Trim that right there. Right, let's move my punch to one side, and then we're going to get this then stuck down. Okay, so that's going to go where that score line is there, and then on there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of double-sided tape, just so it doesn't move about too quickly where I'm wanting it to be. So I'm going to do a bit of tape and a bit of glue. So I'll just whip that off there. To one side. So put wet glue on this. So if you notice then, for this piece you need double-sided. So far we've only used single-sided, so just bear that in mind, because I felt that if you can use some of your scraps and things from other paper collections, do so, because it saves then on the cost of these things. Because you know me, I'm quite a frugal crafter. So I'm just going to stick that down so my score line is matching up with the score line of the bag as well. And just press all that down so you get a nice stick. And that's the first page then done. So we'll now go ahead and do the second page. This then needs another score of 1 1/4. Do that one again. Just fold that over and pop that into there. So that's going to go where that one is. There again, I could do some punching on that edge. So let's do that. So I'll get my punch. This time I think I'll do it facing me so I can see what I'm doing. This is just an edge punch. You can use any punch of your choice. If you haven't got a punch, don't worry. Some of you might have the scissors that make nice decorative edges on them, and they're just as good. Or you might just want to round the edges. The choice is entirely up to you. It's your project. Now I'm just looking for my wide double-sided. Oh, I'm going to use some of that. I've got some wide double-sided here, and I think I'm going to use a bit of that. It's just purely while I'm filming, I haven't really got time for the glue to take off, so that's why I'm just doing it like this. So take that bit off. I'm going to put another strip there because it's not quite wide enough. I think the tape I've got here is 3/4 of an inch. This is double-sided tape and it's really sticky. I just get it from the cheap shop here in the UK, but it's really sticky. So I'm going to pop this one down here. Now this one, obviously I need to match up with my score line so it opens up like a page. So I'm just matching it this side first. I'm going to hold it and then I'm going to push it down. And with my bone folder, just get a nice adhesion, and then if you look in there, it then matches nicely on that other side. We've got a third page to add to this on this side. So get the third one. Just move this over again. Need another score at 1 1/4. Got my bone folder. Just fold that. I think what I'm going to do is fold it that way. And again, I'm going to put a decorative punch on, just because I can, and I think it quite looks nice. I'm using the same punch all the way along. There again, that's personal choice. I find sometimes when you're doing a project like this, it's quite nice if you do use the same punch, because it keeps things or the project uniformed. But as I say, it's personal choice, so it's entirely up to you. So just take that little nick out there, remove my rubbish, and I do the same with this, and then we can get this one stuck down, just making sure I'm getting my tape on the right side. So for these couple of pages, you're needing double-sided. So just take off this double-sided tape. So as you can see, we need double-sided paper for these couple of pages. So that's why I say you can go through your paper collections and see what you've got matching. But I know a lot of my bits aren't always double-sided papers, so it's quite nice that I can use some single-sided ones where I can, and also it helps to use paper collections up rather than just sticking them in your piles of paper that you don't use anymore and waste. I like to use all my pattern papers up. Okay, so that's a double-sided one, so let's get that stuck down. Then we've got the fold, so I'm going to lay the fold onto the other fold. So we've now got lots of nice interest going on here, and then I'm just going to fold that back so you can see it's all in line, so it's nice and neat on that side. And then on this side you've got lots of nice interest with the papers. I've quite by happy accident matched all that up nicely, and then inside here as well you've got lots of nice contrast. So just think a little bit when you're doing your papers that you can get things sort of matching and looking nice. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a little pocket book to go inside these big pockets here. So I've got a big piece of cardstock here, so that's measuring 12 by 4 1/4. That's measuring a little bit smaller because I want it to go inside, and then I'm just going to score that in half. Now these little pocket books that you put inside these, there again it's your choice to how many pages you would like to add to them. Personal preference entirely. I think we'll go for the lighter colour so it shows up. But it's just a great way of, rather than putting a tag in to add say 2 photographs, by having it as a little pocket book, because we've got double-sided paper, we can actually add 4 photographs to that element. So I'm just going to stick that inside there. So that's going to go inside there, and I'll add some ribbon on that at a later date. But again, a bit more interest and things going on. Now I have got another slot there as well, so I'll probably go ahead and add another book as well, but I'm going to see how I get on with filling the rest of it up first. So that's everything to the left hand side, and now we're going to move to this right hand side. So we'll start off by adding this piece on here. Now I don't know whether to do the contrast here with the butterflies or whether to keep it all the same. I might well keep it all the same as we've got dark envelopes, and then I'm just looking at what I'm putting on the inside there. Yes, I think we'll keep that the same, so we'll have it that way around. Now I'm adding that to there, but I've got this little element going on here that I've left, a little decorative piece that I'm in an iron whether to punch, so I may go ahead and add some nice ribbon or something to that. So let me just see if I've got any ribbon, or even actually a bit of cardstock might be better. Let me have a think. I might add the cardstock actually. Let's add the cardstock. So let's stick this cardstock down. This is where you can use your imagination. I could go ahead and get a bit of ribbon, but I don't want to waste time filming while you wait for me to go and find a little bit of ribbon. So I've just got a piece of scrap cardstock there. Just stick that down, and I can turn it over and trim that piece off. There we go, trim that off, and then I can stick this down. And that then could go more in the middle, so you've got a bit more of a border all the way around. That's fine, happy with that. And then I'm going to open up here because we're going to make a pocket. So I just need to put either some tape or glue. I think I'm going to go ahead with glue rather than tape, because sometimes when you put tape and you've added something in, it can then go wrong. So actually, before I add my tape, I'm going to stick this back piece of paper down. So let's do that. That's the next piece on my list. So this is the piece that's measuring, it should be 8 inches, yes, by 4 1/2, and I need to put a score line in there. So let's get the board out again. As I say, all these measurements will be on my website, so you can pre-cut all your papers like I have ahead of time. So I'm going to score this at 2 1/4, and I'll show you why it's at 2 1/4 in a minute. Bring back our pads. I'm just going to fold that over. I'm wondering to go cream or dark. I think we go dark. So this is going to go under here, but you're thinking, what have I got that there for? I'm going to take out this little pocket thing we made, because your paper is just going to slide in there on the score line. And the reason I'm doing that, I'll try and bring it up so you can see on the camera. You can see that on the camera very easily. If I take it out, you can see that's where the bag is with the jaggedy edge. And if you're taking things in and out, they're going to get caught on there. So by adding this little insert, if you like, I suppose that's what you call like an envelope insert, that's going to make it a smoother run through, so it won't cut and tear your bag. And I'm going to glue that all the way down. So that will glue down to there and then up under there. And I'm going to use wet glue for that. So let's start gluing that. The Cal glue will also help to strengthen that part of your wallet as well. I can't remember what Stephanie Miller used when she did hers, whether she used glue or tape. I think she had an ATG gun actually, if I remember. But obviously it's your personal choice. I find by using the glue, see, it's giving me that little bit of wiggle room. And then I can bring it up under there, and I've got that little bit of wiggle room. And that's done. See, it's as easy as that. And then what I'm going to do is just go in with my hands and smooth that down. In fact, take my bone folder and just smooth it nicely down inside that pocket. Now when you're doing this, be aware in case you've got any blobs of glue, because obviously if you've got blobs of glue, that's just going to stick to this part of your bag. Okay, so I haven't got any of those. I'm just going to go along as well with my bone folder and really get this nicely stuck down, which it is. And then so let's pop that bit in there out the way so I don't get confused. So that can go in there. Now I'm going to make a little pocket on this side, so rather than using double-sided tape, I think I'm going to go ahead and use glue. Now I've got Cal glue, I've got it in one of my fine tip applicators here. Okay, so I'm just wanting to put glue, a thin bead, just on this outside edge. Just put a tiny thin bead. Okay, I'm going to lay that down and let that stick. And in fact, what I should probably do, just while that's sticking under these lights, is put a couple of clips just to let that stick on there. Okay, and we can go on to the next part. So that's your little pocket made.